I received a bit of negative feedback the other day from someone chastising me about bad-mouthing the FDA. To quote, the FDA would never approve a food additive that had not been proven safe. The FDA works very hard to protect us from unsafe food and drug additives. The conversation I had been having was about leg hemoglobin, that is the additive to Impossible Burger's ground beef that makes it bleed like real meat, has that bloody juice that we all love to sop up. And so I thought, well, maybe they're right. Maybe I jumped the gun on this. So I did some research, and this video is going to tell you the in-depth research that was done to prove that leg hemoglobin is safe for human consumption. So in case you're not up to date on this discussion, Impossible Foods has a product called Impossible Burger, which is made 100% of plant-based products. So there's no meat in an Impossible Burger. But for some reason, evidently vegans really love for their plant-based foods to look and smell and even bleed like real meat. I have no idea why a vegan would want a product that looks like it's oozing real blood. I can understand why carnivores would like that, but not vegans. At any rate, so I looked into this, and leg hemoglobin was initially discovered back in, I think, the 60s, and it comes from the root nodules of a soybean plant. Now, I looked for soybean root recipes and foods made with soybean roots, and I didn't find anything on Google or DuckDuckGo. So to my knowledge, human beings have never eaten the roots of soybeans, especially the nodules on the roots of mature soybean plants. But that's where leg hemoglobin was discovered. Now you'll see in the corporate press that leg hemoglobin, which is a contraction of legume, which is what a soybean is, and hemoglobin, which is a naturally occurring molecule in animal-based foods. Leg hemoglobin, they'll say, oh, it's exactly the same as the hemoglobin molecule in meat. But if you look at the two molecules side by side, you can see they're substantially different. They might resemble each other vaguely, but they definitely don't rhyme. They're definitely not exactly the same. And so, no, they're not exactly the same. There are multiple differences in the molecular structure. And so Impossible Foods, they're not going around digging up millions of soybean roots. What they did was they sequenced the genome of leg hemoglobin, and then they taught a fungus called Pichia pastoris, which we discovered in the 1960s. They taught this fungus to make leg hemoglobin so it can churn it out by the thousands of gallons in a chemical laboratory or chemical factory. And then they use that as an additive to their Impossible Burger so that it bleeds just like real meat, even though vegans are repulsed by real meat. So that's a little backstory on just what leg hemoglobin is, and I still don't understand why vegans would want their plant-based foods to bleed like real meat. But so then I looked into the research. Okay, what research was done proving that leg hemoglobin, which is something that human beings have never in our entire existence on this planet, we've never eaten that before. And I think that's an important question. And obviously my critic that I quoted earlier, they think that the FDA looks into all this stuff and proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that something is safe for human consumption before they would ever add it to their GRAS list, which is generally regarded as safe for human consumption. And so I looked into this, and in 2015, Impossible Foods applied for the GRAS classification. The FDA had lots of concerning questions about leg hemoglobin, and eventually Impossible Foods, they just pulled their application or just closed the application process. They reapplied in 2017, and they had done some research in the meantime. And what that research consisted of was a 28-day study in rodents, in rats. And they fed the rats lots of leg hemoglobin and followed them for 28 days. And then terminated the study. They sacrificed all the rats. They did autopsies on all the rats, looked at all their organs, And then Impossible Foods reported to the FDA that there were no concerns in the findings, even though the rats, as actually it says in the study itself, that they had unexplained transient decrease in body weight gain, they had increased food consumption without weight gain, they had changes in blood chemistry, they had decreased reticulocyte counts, they had decreased blood clotting ability, they had decreased blood levels of alkaline phosphatase, they had decreased blood glucose, and they had increased blood globulin value. So all those things changed from the control group of rats to the rats fed leg hemoglobin for 28 days. So in only 28 days, we noticed these differences. Now, you might think that the Food and Drug Administration would require long studies in humans, or definitely longer studies, 2 or 3 year long studies in animals, before they would give something a classification as generally regarded as safe for human consumption. Actually, the FDA, they don't want to fool with this, so they put it on the food manufacturer. They say, you do the research and then you report to us what you found. So they literally put the fox in charge of reporting that the hen house is safe. That is truly how it works at the federal level. And so based on this 28-day long study in rats that did show changes, but none of the rats died from acute poisoning. I guess we could say that. So leg hemoglobin is probably pretty safe. Even though humans have never eaten it, it's probably not going to kill you acutely like strychnine or ricin or something like that. But there has not been a single long-term study on the routine consumption of leg hemoglobin in human beings ever conducted in the history of science, to my knowledge. If I'm wrong, please put a link in the show notes below and I will check out the study and I will correct this video. So no, the FDA did not ensure that leg hemoglobin, something that human beings have never consumed before, is safe for long-term daily consumption by human beings. And I think that Impossible Foods would love it if we all ate Impossible burgers and never ate real meat again. And they would love it if we ate Impossible burgers every day. So the implied goal of Impossible Foods is for us to all eat lots of leg hemoglobin every single day so they can make billions of dollars of profit. But that has never been proven safe. Now, I'm not necessarily saying it's dangerous for human consumption. I'm saying that no, it has never been proven safe for long-term daily consumption in human beings. If that surprises you, then you might want to start doing a little research and digging into the FDA and how things like high fructose corn syrup and other additives that are in thousands of food products, how they get the generally regarded as safe label, even though the FDA did no research to prove that they were safe. So if you want to give Impossible Burger a try, I think that it's been proven by the 28-day rat study and by the thousands of people who have eaten an Impossible Burger and didn't drop dead. I think we've proven that Impossible Burger, the leg hemoglobin, and the other unnatural additives that it contains, and there's a long list of them, I think we've proven it's not acutely toxic. It's not going to lead to immediate liver failure, kidney failure, or your imminent demise. But the problem is we don't know what's going to happen if you have an Impossible Burger every day or 3 days a week, or if you just stop eating meat and just only eat Impossible Foods, fake meat, for years and years and years. No one knows what's going to happen. In fact, you, if you choose to do that, will be part of the ongoing experiment. It's called post-market feedback. And so if someone does develop cancer or does develop kidney disease or does develop liver disease, it'll be up to their doctor to report that to the FDA, assuming that the patient and the doctor can make the association between, oh, I ate lots of Impossible Burgers and then I got kidney failure 5, 7, 10 years later. Then when enough of those cases are reported to the FDA, then they might act. This is kind of what happened with trans fats. You remember trans fats. They're outlawed in most modern countries. And eventually the US FDA got around to making food manufacturers take them out over a 3-year period of time. Now they're not considered generally regarded as safe, but they were considered that when they were first put on the market, even though human beings had never eaten a chemically manufactured trans fat before in the history of the species. So we have a precedent that big food manufacturers will put something in their product and call it generally regarded as safe when it absolutely does harm long-term to human beings. And so I wouldn't be comfortable eating Impossible Foods burgers every day for years and years, because I don't think that has been proven safe. I hope this video helps you understand a little bit more about the food world that we live in. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.